Good evening and welcome everyone to the 21st Annual New Voices in Children's Literature Tassy Walden Awards celebration. I'm Eric Dillner, the CEO of the Shoreline Arts Alliance. We are so glad you all are here tonight celebrating with us and recognizing these talented children's book writers from right here in Connecticut. What an amazing week we've had getting to know our winners of the Tassy Awards. Who was Tassy Walden? Do we all know? Well, let me share a little bit about what I know about Tassy. Catherine Tassy Giselle Walden was an accomplished champion of children's literature. She was a generous and beloved member of the Connecticut's literary and library community, and she taught in New York City and in Guilford, and she served as the president of the Connecticut State Library Association. She taught children's literature at Connecticut College and was active with the Literacy Volunteers of America. In short, Tassy understood the excellence in children's literature. Like Tassy, you, the artists, your work has given us such hope and inspires us to keep dreaming and living for new beginnings each and every day. As we hear and read your stories, we're reminded of the youthful wonder that we felt as youngsters. You offer us the opportunity to smile, to laugh, to dream, to experience through your youthful eyes. Your craft is so envied by those like myself who can barely put a sentence together on a regular day. We just are in awe of all the work that you do. So I urge you to keep giving so much to all of us through your work. It is just with my utmost gratitude that I thank you, the artists, for creating and submitting to the Tassy Walden Awards each year. We also want to thank our wonderful volunteers and especially our judges who work tirelessly to review and critique our Connecticut artists with such care, reading each and every piece, looking at each work. We just want to thank you so very much. It is with great pleasure that I now introduce to you to Doe Boyle, as if you don't know who Doe is, but I want to share who Doe is in my mind. She's an artist just like you, who gives and gives and gives of her own time and devotion to you and fellow writers. Her tireless dedication gives us this opportunity to be here celebrating you, the artist, tonight. In true celebration fashion, we look forward to days to come where we can hug each other, we can be together, and we can share this famous lemon bar that many of you know about, but some of you someday are going to learn all about. Doe, you're an extraordinary woman who gives us so much of yourself every day, and you guide and nurture these artists, but especially me. So thank you so much for all you do. Ladies and gentlemen, our New Voices in Children Literature champion, Doe Boyle. Doe? You might want to unmute yourself.
I should definitely hear you. That was smooth. I have my lemon squares right here, ready to celebrate.
Great.
Can't have a Tassy night without a lemon bar, and also a great big bouquet for you, as always, from my garden, from my heart to yours, and a small display of one of the latest Tassy Walden winner successes. This is the brand new book, Was by Deborah Friedman, who was one of our early Tassy winners and now has gone on to an astonishing career. And this is a most beautiful and most remarkable book, just filled with the finest of art and the best of words for young readers. And we know that all of you are up to that very same thing. And so we're so glad that you're here. Before I say another word, I just want to put in my own thanks to all the folks at the Shoreline Arts Alliance. They have sponsored this program since its inception. This is our 21st year, and we have their amazing support. Diana Harris, Whitney Lawrence, and Eric Dillner, the entire board of directors. I cannot express our gratitude enough. You know, there's a whole Tassy team behind the scenes, but these are the guys Whitney and Diana and Eric on the front lines with the full support of their directors. And we're tremendously grateful for their support. I will say this too, you know, they're the fundraisers behind the scenes, but so are you. All of the artists who submit your entries to the Tassy Walden Award every year, you pay a fee that helps support these awards. And so we're very grateful to you for your cheerleading and your fundraising as well. Lots of you are, you know, have entered the Tassies many times over. You've tried hard again and again to get your work in front of us, and so many of you have gone on to publication. I think that we're I guess I don't know the exact number because it seems to quadruple every year, but there's probably at least 100 titles by authors and illustrators who have been either entrants, finalists, or winners in this competition. And so it really is true that the dream that we founders had many, many years ago to create a diaspora, it's here. There's a community that's been built by the Tassy Walden Award just because you trusted us and you took us into your hearts too, and you became a part of this community. You probably know that many of us are also members of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, and we gather 2, 3, 4 times monthly across Connecticut to help support Connecticut's burgeoning and experienced writers and artists. So I'm so glad that you're here with us tonight. I want to give my everlasting love to all of the founders of the Tassy Walden Award. Here's the risky business. I'm going to try to list their names in alphabetical order. So in addition to yours truly, there's Leslie Bullion and Mary Kelly Bush and Leslie Connor and Kay Kudlinski and Lorraine J and Judy Thies and Nancy Elizabeth Wallace. Oh my God, Eric, did I get everybody? There are 8 of us. There are 8 of us, and we are all loving you 365 days a year for the last 21 years. And we're going to go on doing it for a whole lot longer. So let's see, I'll share with you a little something that I found in a book today. And it basically describes the Tassy Walden Awards in black and white. Here it is. The secret is to do good work and share it with others. It's as simple as that. That little page was written by a fellow named Austin Kleon, who knows everything there is to know about being creative. And that's what we're all about. That's what we're celebrating tonight, giving yourself a chance to be, well, what I am. I call myself a wanderer. Give yourself time to wander around this beautiful, sweet old world we share. Thank goodness, what a year we've shared, huh? What a remarkable year. But here we are all on the planet, and the world keeps spinning around. And all we have to do is wander through it and then wander through our imaginations, right? Imagination plus memory, I tell my students, is story. And that's what we're all doing. We're story builders. So that's what it's all about. There's really not so much more to say than that. Eric, you're going to guide me along the way.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
So we're going to begin. There we go. There we go. Look at this. There's some astonishing color for you. What a way to celebrate, Nancy Tandon. I love these slides. I'm delighted to introduce Nancy Tandon as our speaker tonight. I consider Nancy a friend, And I couldn't be happier and more proud that this evening we are inviting her to speak to you and inspire you with a bit of her own wisdom and experience. But we also just want to say that, you know, if it weren't for the Tassies, I'm not sure we would have found Nancy Tandon. We first discovered her when her work began to appear in the Shoreline Arts Alliance's mailbox a number of years ago at Tassy time. And absolutely, we consider her now a treasured friend as well as an admired member of the Tassy community of Connecticut writers and illustrators. She is also a fellow author, another Tassy success story. Nancy was a 2014 Tassy Walden Award winner for a delightful picture book text. And the very next year, 2015, she was named a Tassy finalist in the middle grade novel category. And that manuscript, The Ghost of Spruce Point, will be published by Aladdin, Simon & Schuster, in summer of 2022. So wait for that one. There's a mock-up of a cover. I'm not sure that's the real thing, but it's a great mock-up. And just months before that exciting launch, Nancy's debut middle grade novel called The Way I Say It will release in January from Charles Bridge. So a double header for Nancy Tandon next year, and we can't wait to celebrate with her. Nancy's a former teacher. She's a speech language pathologist, and she's an adjunct professor of phonetics and child language development, all experiences and expertise that helped plant seeds for her stories about awesome kids doing brave things. She lives in Glastonbury, Connecticut with her husband and her 2 kids. She's a big fan of literary outreach programs of all kinds, and we welcome her with great pride to our virtual podium this evening.
Thank you, Do. What a lovely introduction, and how fun to be swinging back around to the Tassy Walden Awards as a speaker tonight. Thanks to the Shoreline Arts Alliance and to the Tassy Walden Awards founders and the organizing committee for inviting me to share in tonight's celebration. First, a shout out to anyone who created anything of any kind during this particularly challenging year. Keep doing the work. You've got this. And to the 2021 winners, finalists, and honorees, your creative efforts faced a rigorous judging process and were deemed exceptional. Congratulations. I've heard it said that writers and illustrators who pursue publication need more determination than is reasonable. And for myself, someone who over the course of 10 years of trying has garnered close to 200 combined rejections across multiple manuscripts, I have to say that's probably true. It's not reasonable. 10 years, 200 rejections with more to come. And let's not forget that my debut novel, The Way I Say It, was a 2-time non-winning Tassy entrant. What in the world possessed me to keep going? Where was this persistence coming from? What is going to keep you going on your path to publication? You may have heard this saying from British novelist and philosopher Iris Murdoch. One of the secrets of a happy life is continuous small treats. It's one of my favorites. And here's my spin on that idea as it relates to the writing journey. One of the secrets to a successful writing life is continuous small encouragements. If you are going to have more determination than is reasonable, you will also need an arsenal of support. Here are some of my best suggestions for setting up your creative life in a way that ensures that the nearly incessant encouragement you're going to need is never far away. Obviously, awards like the special one we're celebrating tonight are a huge source of encouragement, And in hindsight, one of the smartest things I did with my 2014 Tassy Walden Award was to spend a portion of the winnings on a decorative mirror I'd had my eye on. We were a young family with a pile of bills, and the purchase felt like an extravagance. But I bought the mirror and I hung it in a spot that I passed by frequently. And on my worst days, when rejections were piling up and discouragement was nudging me to give up, I'd pass by the mirror, and this is what I'd see. Every time I saw it, that dang mirror seemed to be saying, "You're not giving up. You're an award-winning writer. You have the mirror to prove it." Now, you don't need to buy anything or start talking to your reflection like I did, but I do encourage you to have a physical object somewhere in your living space that will say to you daily, keep writing, keep drawing, keep creating. Another way to secure your daily dose of encouragement is to find your people and speak your goals out loud to them. The good news is, as a Tassy entrant, you've already started this process. Take a moment to scroll through the names of your fellow attendees here tonight. Reach out in real life and on social media to connect. These are your people. We are your people, ready and waiting to encourage you and looking forward to the gift of your support in return. And finally, focus on what's fun. There's plenty of frustration and discouragement in publishing. You do not need to give those any extra time. Give your attention and energy to the joy of doing the work and to the fabulous people this journey has brought and will bring into your life. Look for any opportunity to give and receive continuous small encouragements so that the creative, amazing human you already are can continue to grow and reach toward that next goal. Give it space, give it time, and don't give up. Thank you, best of luck, and again, congratulations.
So again, thanks so much to Nancy Tandon. So happy to have her in the Tassy family. We always are joyful when we see her, and we can't wait to celebrate next year's successes with her. So that brings us to this year's awards. And I will just repeat something that many of you already know, and Nancy just pointed at it again as well, that you've already done you've achieved an amazing success just by entering this competition. One of the goals of the competition was to give everyone preparation for how to present yourself professionally. I'm going to reach back onto my thank you notes to thank Deborah Friedman again tonight, because at the last minute, when we were faced with a second shutdown, a second year of this remarkable pandemic experience, we realized that we had to support the illustrators in particular by creating a way for us all to submit safely electronically. It was a way for us to get your physical properties to our judges without actually having to handle any materials or to make any errands to post offices and such. So Deborah Friedman stepped in with Whitney Lawrence, and she created the system by which you could all contribute your work electronically. And so thanks to Debbie for that great favor, and for really snapping to it like at a moment's notice, truly, when we realized that we were in the position that we found ourselves in. And sure enough, it worked pretty much flawlessly. And we are going to stick to that new system. From now on, we'll have electronic submissions to the Shoreline Arts Alliance for all of your entries. And I also want to say that we had tremendous collaboration and cooperation this year from the judges, all who had to, also adjust to a new normal. And while working at home, as New York City and Boston and San Francisco and Chicago emptied their office buildings, and everyone had to find new ways to be able to judge the Tassy Walden competition while juggling all the other elements of their lives, often with toddlers at their knees. So giant applause to our judges as well. All of them are assigned to look at your work exactly as they would in normal life in the industry. They are not judging the entries against one another. They're judging each entry separately, absolutely 100% individually, to make sure that that entry meets the criteria that they would normally use as a literary agent, as an editor, an executive editor, a publisher, an art director, a book designer. Whatever skills they bring to bear, by the way, are curated exactly according to the categories. So some of you know this already, but some of you may not realize that the literary agents who first read each of the categories, they are expert in that category. And that category is their area of interest as well as expertise. So they know what they're looking for, they know what the marketplace is, and they know very much what's good. And you have all done good work. So they're examining that closely, individually, to see if there's someone there who has that spark of creativity and talent and sensitivity that shows exemplary potential for future publication. So that brings us to the finalists and the winners in the picture book text category. So keeping in mind that our finalists are also those who show extraordinary potential, I'm happy to read the names of Patricia Finnegan for We Are the Velcros, Bethany Jensen for Ballerino, Jody Kelly for The Allergic Alligator, and Stephanie Hugh Lim for the one and only Carnegie Hall. I want to have you all do a virtual applause for those remarkable writers. To be able to imagine the illustrations as they produced the words, and to give just the right amount of information to help the illustrator who will someday put their work out into the world. That's an extraordinary quality. So our congratulations to all of you. Jody Kelly, by the way, was also a finalist in this category in 2018. And we always love to see people return and try again, because more information for you, more proof that you're on the road and you're on the right track of that road. So congratulations to all of our picture book text finalists. And then we're going to announce our picture book text winner, Sabrina Peterson. Sabrina has written a charming story called Postcards from Poppy, and she is here with us this evening to share that story with us. And I also just want to interrupt myself for a moment and say, Sabrina is one of those people who has joined us at the local small groups that meet for reading and critique, collecting feedback. And we're always delighted, again, to welcome you into the Tassy family in that way. So welcome, Sabrina, and I hope all of you will settle back and enjoy her story she's going to read to us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just wanted to take a moment to express my gratitude to the Shoreline Arts Alliance, as well as the Tassy Walden Award founders for this opportunity, as well as for the teachings that have led me to this point to write my children's book. And of course, to my family and my own papa for his love and support. Can you guys see me? You can, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So Pappy wakes up early in the morning before the sun. Where are you going? Asked Ramon. Trabaja, mi hijo. For today was bring your father to school day. As he got ready, Ramon looked at the postcards he kept under his pillow. Pappy had bought them from all the different places he had visited with his work. It made Ramon sad that he would not be there today. When Ramon arrived at school, everybody was preparing for the special day. Kevin was cleaning the top of his desk. Tony was hiding things and trying not to be messy. And Derek made sure that everyone's shoes were in proper order. But Ramon was still worried. The hour had finally arrived. Suddenly, the fathers burst through the doors. Some wore hats, some wore boots, some even had a mustache. Ramon imagined how his pappy would look with his flap cap, jeans, and goatee. Now, who would like to start? Mrs. Perkins asked. Kevin shot his arm up in the air. He stood up with his father, whom he called Chief, and told the class about his father, how he lived on a submarine and was not able to see light for months. Kevin said that Chief would be away for a long time. Ramon knew exactly how Kevin felt. It was hard to not see Pappy for a long time, too. Next went Darius and his tata, who ran the grocery store downstairs from where they lived with his mother and 3 sisters. Ramon loved to visit Darius after school because sometimes his tata would give them a sweet and penny candy. And it made Ramon happy to spend time with Darius's tata and laugh about their day at school. Then came Daniela's turn. She introduced the class to her 2 dads, Pi and Pops. Pops is my softball coach, she exclaimed to the class. And Pi says he knows the secret on how to catch a fly ball, she said, smiling. But Ramon's heart sank. Daniela was able to spend time with both her dads, but Ramon had barely time to spend with his one. And then Kai emerged from the corner of the room. This is my grandpa, he said. I call him Sofu. He does not speak English, and we came here last year along with my mom and grandma. My dad doesn't live with us, and Kai continued, but Sofu keeps me company and wants me to tell you that as he folds the paper cranes, he puts wishes of good fortune and success into all of them for us. Are we missing anyone? Asked Mrs. Perkins. And suddenly Ramon felt his stomach tumble, but he had a bright idea. He pulled out of his knapsacks the postcards Pappy had bought him from every truck stop. He stood up with his back straight as he wanted to be brave for Pappy. My Pappy couldn't be here today, said Ramon. He is a truck driver and goes to work before I wake up and comes home while I am sleeping. These are some of my favorite postcards that he has given me, said Ramon. One of the tallest trees in America, a town called Monkey's Eyebrow, and the class laughed, the Dinosaur National Monument, and of course the Trembling Giant. But out of all of them, my most favorite is Nanana, the beluga whale who lives at the aquarium. Why, this is wonderful, said Mrs. Perkins, that you were able to share your Pappy along. Well, this is wonderful, Ramon, said Mrs. Perkins, that you were able to share your Pappy, although he had to work today. And she started to clap, and then so did Darius, and after a moment, so did the rest of the class. Ramon recognized that although Pappy couldn't come to school that day, he was always in his heart. And that night, when Ramon went to sleep, he wondered what postcard awaited him in the morning. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Completely charming in every single way.
Thank
Lovely,
you.
Sabrina. Thanks so much for sharing it with everyone
Thank
tonight.
you.
We look forward to seeing you at the local groups.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Keep in touch. Don't forget to keep in touch with us.
Okay, thank you.
And now we're going to announce the, well, let's see, what do we have here, Eric?
The illustrated picture book writer.
Okay.
illustrator.
Illustrated picture books, writer, illustrator finalists are Thomas Drew for The Night of the Jangler, a very scary tale of Halloween sorts. And then we have Pamela Hanks, our second finalist, for her story, Page and Web, a ski adventure. Also scary in some ways, and very much delightful. Pamela and Thomas were both chosen by a literary agent who specializes in illustration and represents illustrators. And she passed those two finalists along to our second tier judge, who is an art director at a major publisher. Unfortunately, the art director, as is our policy, did not choose a winner or an honor. And that's always a disappointment. It's a disappointment to our entrants. It's a disappointment to us. But the beauty of the Tassy Walden Awards is that if you're named a finalist, you do know that you're somewhere on the right track. There are qualities of your work that have been recognized, and your potential is being applauded. So one of the options that we offer our judges is to provide feedback, some kind of commentary that will encourage or explain. And so I'm not sure if Pamela is here this evening or if Thomas is with us this evening, but we congratulate both of you. And I have remarks for you, feedback from the judges, and I will pass those along to you through the Shoreline Arts Alliance very, very soon. Congratulations to Pamela and to Thomas. And that brings us to our middle grade novelists. And our finalists, we're happy to say we have some names here too that we've seen before as either entrants or finalists or winners. And here are their names. Here they are again, more proof that they are rising to the challenge of being a published children's book writer or illustrator. So in honor of these writers, I will read the names of Miriam Giskin for her middle grade novel, You Bet. Kimberly Mack for her novel, Beneath the Straw. Dawn Michelle Mancarella for Orchard of Sorrows. Jackie Mead for The Missing Mask. And Cynthia Sygrove for Fair Weather Island. Congratulations to all of you. Help me applaud these women. And I do want to say that Dawn was a middle grade finalist in 2020, just last year, and Kim Mack was the winner of this category in 2018. She's still in it to win it. So glad to see you guys here again. And the winner in this category, another Tassy regular, another Tassy trier, try again harder, is Rudy Venner for his middle grade novel, Ice-Toroid. Rudy is going to speak with us this evening, and then his sister, Tassy finalist Miriam Giskin, is going to read to you.
Okay. Okay, I am so thrilled and grateful for this honor, and there are so many people I would like to thank. The Shoreline Arts Alliance for even sponsoring the Tassy during a pandemic. My friends at the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators for their constant encouragement and support through their critique meetings and their conferences. My sister Miriam for dragging me to the first SCBWI meeting 10 years ago, where I introduced my first draft of my first novel, Asteroid. And later, Miriam also 10 years later, Miriam reminds me after my computer was broken down and running around like a chicken with my head cut off, to submit my application to Tassy because today is the deadline, Rudy. And the wonderful critique group leader, the awesome author, Kay Kotlinski, who endured 10 years of my novels, from Asteroid and 6 others, and to my wife, Gina, who proofreads every single word of every single page of every single novel, multiple versions, and we're still married. And now, normally, the author would read his first chapter. Unfortunately, I cannot read, or more accurately, I cannot see. So Miriam has graciously agreed to be my eyes tonight and read the first chapter of Asteroid. Thank you.
Asteroid, chapter 1.
Miriam, why don't you shove him over a little bit so you can get right in front of that microphone?
Okay. How's that?
A little further over would be great.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Perfect. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you, Miriam.
Asteroid, chapter 1. Oh, back it, I shout as sweat stings my eyes. I blink furiously inside my patched and battered spacesuit. I'm sweltering. But for now, all I can do is stand still on the surface of this asteroid and wait. Eventually, the suit's feeble cooling system will lower my temperature. I hope. For one insane second, I consider lying down on the ice. Maybe that would speed things up. But no, if my boot grippers lose contact, I'd float away. The big man-made ball of ice is 2 kilometers in diameter. 2 clicks is 4 times the height of the Empire State Building on Earth, but it still has next to no gravity. More sweat droplets float around inside my helmet, going nowhere, and blurring my view of the stars glazing steadily in the black, empty vacuum of space. Stupid suit, but it's my own fault. What was I trying to prove? That at 13, I can keep up with adult ice jocks? Yeah, right. I'm really showing them. Disgusted at my own stupidity, I squeeze my eyes shut and shake my head, trying to clear the sweat from them. What's wrong, Jace? Andy McGregor's voice comes over my suit comm. Nothing, I say, groaning inwardly, as I realize my suit comm is active. I squint at my comm display. At least it's set to tight beam, so only Andy hears me. At least I'm not broadcasting my latest screw up to the other ice jocks, or worse yet, my dad. Are you sure? Andy prods. Positive. Then why are you drifting off the ice? Asks Andy. Oh, backing blowout. I blink my eyes open and stare down past my feet. The perfectly round asteroid is spread out below me, growing smaller as I drift away. Several space-suited ice jocks in distinctive colored helmets crawl over its surface like ants on a soccer ball. They pace between scattered red wagon-wheel-sized anchor plates, trailing thin, super strong carbon filament threads from their web spinners. At this distance, I can't see the containment web they are weaving. The ice jocks are too focused on their work to notice me. They are all looking down at their threads, all except one. Andy's yellow and black helmet tilts up, watching me coast further away. He lifts an arm and gives me a wide, exaggerated wave. Without thinking, I squeeze the brake on my web spinner. Instantly, the thin black thread trailing from its pointed tip grows taut, nearly yanking the giant caulk and gun-shaped spinner from my gloves. I hold on, fighting down a spasm of panic, but the thread is strong enough to hold a mountain of ice together. It isn't about to snap from any strain I put on it. Clutching my spinner handle, I swing in a wild arc. I kick and flail, but accomplish nothing. Terrific. All I need is for the other ice jocks to see me spin-wheeling at the end of my thread like a newbie at his first ZG dance. At last, I think to switch on my suit jets. With my glove controls, I give them a tiny burst of thrust, just enough to drift back towards the surface. Soon, my boots touch down and the grippers cling to the ice. "You okay, Jace?" asks Andy. "I'm good," I reply, trying to sound casual while my insides squirm. "It looked like you were spazzing out," says Andy. "I thought you might pop a seal." "It's nothing." I grit my teeth, hearing the grin in his voice. "Just some sweat in my eyes." "Don't overdo it," says Andy, turning serious. "You need to keep your suit in the green." "I know that," I snap. I cast a guilty glance at my suit temp status light. It goes from flashing red to yellow. I'm thankful Andy can't see it. "Just saying," says Andy. "I've been wearing spacesuits since I was 6, I say, then cringe at how defensive I sound. I'm not a newbie. "You're not getting special treatment, Jace." His tone is patient, but I sense the warning. 6-hour shifts in a suit are tough on all of us. Every new ice jock goes through this. Every single one. Got it? Got it. I try to hide my irritation. Even though Andy is 21, he's only lived in the belt for 2 years. But I can't let this get back to Dad, so I stop talking. "Good," says Andy. "Let's stop blowing air and get back to spinning thread." When I check my spinner, I discover I'm trailing a 100-meter length of thread. It's way too long and now totally useless. I follow it back to its original anchor plate, cut it loose, and start a new thread. I triple check each step. We can't afford any mistakes. One wrong thread and the giant ice ball could break apart on its long flight from the asteroid belt to lunar orbit. I spin the thread to the next anchor plate, attach and tighten it. Finally, I click my comm to the general channel. "Jace B, reporting thread 5792 connected," I say. "Okay, Jace." Olaf Hagerson, our crew chief, replies in his low rumbling voice. "And just so you know, your average thread connect time is now above 10 minutes for this shift." A tightness in my throat wants me to argue that the last thread shouldn't count, but then I'll have to explain why. Not going to happen. That's when Shorty Jeffers' voice comes on the channel. "Hear that, Andy?" he asks. "Guess you can stop worrying that the kid will whip your butt for the top jock bonus." There is a burst of laughter from all the ice jocks listening on the channel. I straighten up, almost bumping myself off the ice again. I'm used to the crew yanking my jets, but why does Shorty make it his full-time job? Andy doesn't reply, but a couple of others join in with comments about the sorry state of my web spinning. Thankful that none of them saw my recent blunder, I clamp my jaws shut and begin spinning my next thread. At last, Olaf breaks in. "Let's cut the chatter, people. If we don't deliver this ice ball before our deadline, Lunar Tranquility Colony will be full of some very thirsty, unhappy colonists. And Interplan is breathing down our necks, just waiting to steal our next customer." That quiets them, and I spin another 2 threads in peace. I check the time. I can finish one more before the shift ends. That's when my web spinner flashes a warning message. "Oh, blowout," I moan. Luckily, my comm is back on tight beam. "What's the problem, Jace?" "Nothing," I say. It didn't sound like nothing. Andy's tone is mild, but I know he's not letting this go. I exhale a noisy, defeated breath. "I'm out of C-Flex, I confess. I guess I forgot to bring a spare cartridge," I wince, remembering the wasted thread. "I guess you did." At least there's no grin in his voice this time. Suck it up, call it in, and head back. The shift is almost over anyway. I sigh, trying to think of another option, but without C-Flex, my spinner is useless, and so am I. "Jace B reporting," I announce over the general channel. "I'm out of C-Flex, heading in for a refill." "Okay, Jace, come on in," says Olaf, not mentioning that I'd blown the end of my shift. To my relief, Shorty remained silent. I glanced towards Andy's sector. In the distance, his black and yellow helmet and shoulders are just visible above the too near curved horizon. He's looking down, spinning thread. Then I kick off the ice, power up my suit jets, and aim for the command shack. Right now, it's out of sight, attached to the far side of the iceteroid. As I fly over the ice, I watch the brilliant starscape unroll across the black sky. The tiny dot of the sun rises higher. It's too bright to look at directly, even this far out by Jupiter's orbit. A blinking red light pops over the horizon. It's the distant beacon of the Tin Can, the Belter space station. A tiny pinprick of white light, the flame of a pogo, a two-person space scooter, appears to break away from it and crawl across the starscape. I'm imagining how cool it would be to have my own pogo when Evan Owen's voice comes over the general channel. Evan O, reporting thread 5038 connected, swapping C-Flex cartridge. My fantasy of piloting my own pogo around the asteroid belt evaporates. Evan ran out of C-Flex too, but unlike me, he brought along a spare. It figures. I search for Evan's blue helmet with its 2 silver lightning bolts. I'm approaching his sector, but don't spot him. Suddenly, a brilliant flash off to my left dazzles my eyes. Crack! My ears ring as something hits my helmet. My heart slams into my ribs, terrified my helmet will shatter. Nothing happens. The after image from the flash fades. The universe spins around me. White, black, white. Then my training kicks in. I fire my suit jets. Stop my spin. Search for what made that flash. There! Icy dread prickles my skin. It's Evan. He tumbles in the blackness. His limbs flop. A sparkling swirl surrounds his suit. He's leaking air.
Wow. I should have warned you guys to buckle up for that one. So great, Rudy. So much fun. And I have to say that the judge who commented on Rudy's piece wrote a run-on sentence about how great it was. So accolade after accolade. And we'll be sharing that, Rudy, we'll be sharing that with you very soon. Now we're going to present our final award tonight for the young adult novel. And we had 2 finalists that were chosen by our first tier judge in the young adult novel category. And one of those finalists was named the honorable mention. And wouldn't you know it, she was also named the honorable mention last year, 2020, in the middle grade novel. So Paige Classy Przybylski, you are on your way. Proof positive. Congratulations for being named the honorable mention for your novel, Heavy Lightness. And then our second finalist named the winner, William Elios, for his young adult novel, Lightning Born. There must have been something in the air about light this year in young adult novels. So William, congratulations to you. And we invite you to step to the podium to read aloud from Lightning Born.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you especially to the Shoreline Arts Alliance for presenting this award and for hosting the event tonight. I'm incredibly grateful for everything you do to strengthen the artistic community in Connecticut. Thank you also to my parents and sister who have supported my writing and daydreaming about magic for 28 years, as well as my Nana, Judith Descala, who has read everything I've ever read since elementary school murder mystery. I am now going to read a small excerpt from my manuscript entitled Lightning Born. Thank you very much. Okay. Chapter 1. The half moon shone over their bodies. Esme sensed it like a ticking clock. The party was a chaos of diamonds and black eyeliner, glitter tossed into flames. She straightened the sage scarf around her hair and strode toward the entrance of Augustus Villa. "Who's that?" snapped a skeletally thin girl from the mosh pit. Esme Mirabal. Paint splashed across her friend's cheek. "I saw her at another of these ragers. She doesn't go to school with everyone else at Berlin. Looks like a real freak to me." "She is." Esme glanced at them, but the girls wriggled back into the pile of undulating flesh. "They say she talks to butterflies." The villa opened around Esme like a mouth, teenagers dribbling through airy hallways or splayed against teeth-white pillars. Bubbles sloshed from their drinks and onto the posh furniture. Such elegance could only be found in certain regions of Tribury, a town of farmland and antique shops, and as unremarkable as the rest of modern-day New England to those who never looked beneath the lackluster surface. "Whoever's hosting this party can definitely afford to reupholster," thought Esme, a sharp twinge at the back of her neck reminding her why she agreed to attend. Ligeia Estates is the richest sector of Tribury. The people here give their homes pretentious titles like Augustus Villa. She shuffled along the edges of the foyer, her muscles tightening with every approaching wing beat until she reached an empty bathroom. The door closed like a silencing hand. A mirror caught the twinkle of magic in Esme's eyes, a green radiance that she prayed no one noticed. "Don't worry, everyone out there is trashed. Just find the spirit and then you can leave." Her lips resumed their smirk, a result, she believed, of a life riddled with secrets. "You can't take much seriously when you chat with the dead as often as I do. Now stop talking to yourself. You're getting a reputation." She stepped to an open window and looked toward the sky, where a white butterfly appeared against the darkness like moonlight given form. The silver-winged creature flew over the hordes of dancers, flitting about in the night air, and landed upon her finger. "Mariposa magnifica." Threads of green lightning brightened Esme's otherwise hazel irises. "You're a beautiful ghost." The sinews in her neck released their tension. She pulled a necklace from her blouse, a butterfly charm dangling from its chain, with wings of the same green hue as the electric bolts in her eyes. "But I'm looking for a soul like this one, and that's not you. I'd rather track more ghosts than waste the rest of my Friday night here, but how can you help?" The glow in her eyes dimmed as she let her confidant flutter back onto the winds. "You're just a butterfly." Sighing, Esme spotted a wilted orchid on the countertop. Her practiced hand set to work tossing the dead vegetation out the window. Pouring tap water over the plant, she pressed a finger to the soil, her ring shaped like two golden hands clasping each other at the wrists. They called the design Gaia's Embrace in her family. "Enutrio," she cried, remembering the spell book on botany that her grandmother described as essential learning for any young witch. A light emanated from the leaves. She withdrew her hand as shoots of new growth sprouted along the frame of the mirror. Esme had a playful face suited for her 16 years and a body that curved like a budding fern. Rows of fresh petals blossomed over the glass. She nodded. "Much better." The door opened itself and she re-entered the realm of the party. A pair of girls in sequined pumps staggered into the bathroom and Esme crossed her arms, feeling nothing but her own nerves without the white butterfly. "It's way too crowded in here. I want to go home." Her cousin, Nerissa del Espejo, who carried as much witchcraft in her blood as Esme and the rest of their family, demanded to visit Augustus Villa that evening. Esme argued that most witches prefer hiking a mountain trail over witnessing mortals harm themselves for a night of pleasurable delirium, but Nerissa insisted. Of course, not many witches spent their free time chasing ghosts that looked like butterflies. Not many witches had eyes that sparkled when they spoke to the dead. Those were just some of Esme's quirks. "A blessing," her abuela, Calliope Mirabal, contended. "You dance with death. You're not like your cousins, Nieta, not like other witches. Electricity in the eyes, the truest mark of a lightning-born." I thought I would stop there. Thank you again.
Excellent. Thank you, William. Thanks so much for reading to us. Wonderful. So we wish all of you the best of success with whatever happens with all of this work in the months ahead, the weeks ahead, the days ahead. If we can help you pursue your dreams, I hope you'll be in touch with all of us. I hope you'll attend the meetings of the local chapters of the SCWI or find your own critique group to give you feedback and encouragement. As Nancy said, small encouragements every day. The more, the merrier, we say. We join her in that philosophy. So I think, Eric, are we at the end now of our program? We have some people to thank here. Well, those are the founders. It looks like I didn't forget anybody's name. And this is our beautiful logo created by founder Leslie Connor. There we are back with our beautiful magic man and his flute of creativity. And then here we have a screen that just shows you how deeply appreciative we are of all of the support that we're given financially each year. And these are some of the wonderful people who supported the awards this year, including Tassy Walden's own family. We're very grateful for their continuing affection and involvement and financial support. So thank you to everyone for all of that. And here we have the Board of Directors of the Shoreline Arts Alliance. Read these names carefully. If you know these people, make sure you reach out a hand to say thank you to them for all of the work that they do to support the arts in, I think it's 30 towns in the Shoreline area that the Shoreline Arts Alliance supports. And,
Yeah, we'll call it 30. It's 24, but I like it. A few more is good.
there we go. And really, that this is a labor of love for them. This is something that they do as volunteers and from the bottom of their own hearts. And so again, our thanks very much to every single director on this board.
And I think, though, that this is a great opportunity for us to introduce everyone to one of our new board members who, Luciana, you'll see her there, Luciana Bonifacio, who's new to our board, and she was a Tassy submitter some years ago. So that's really exciting that we have more representation on the board as well.
And she
I
gets
also
it.
want to, what's that?
She gets it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fantastic. That's great. And we just want to share, as always, the folks who really make sure that all of our programs keep the lights on so that we can continue to do all the work. So I could leave this up for a long time, but again, walk into these wonderful institutions and patronize them and say thank you to them when you have an opportunity. We so appreciate it. So Doe, with that, I think it's time to say goodnight and say one more thanks to all of you fabulous artists. You've transformed my life for sure, and I think you've transformed many lives tonight. So thank you. Keep doing that great work. Stay in touch with Shoreline Arts Alliance. As Doe said, we're always here to help you. So stay safe and
we'll circle back if we have anything that we need to share with you, and if any news comes in for you from the judges, you can be sure we're gonna reach out. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna steal some words from William Elios and say, next year, submit again, just find the spirit.
I love it. That's wonderful. I'm gonna put us all on camera so everybody give a big wave, all right? Good night, everybody. Thanks so much. And congratulations. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Congratulations.